I will continue in Russian, it's a bit easier for me. As Jan explained, he was testing DANE for the to test the email service. Same can be done for the www. Why? Because we have secure connection and everybody use such secure connections, but there is one problem. We should trust the authority certificate, which is kind of is a part of our browser, or let's say we don't know, should we trust Microsoft or should we completely trust Google. With this browser it's very difficult to verify this, and then the use of DANE for www helps us to build the chain of trust without the necessity to use certificate of authorities. At the same time, it requires that we trust our DNS service and those keys that work with the DNS. Moreover, if you want to you can already use an existing certificate, and if you want to continue work with the certificate of authorities and you want to protect something else, you need to create a new certificate. But should you have already existing one, you can continue using it for the DANE verification. For www, unfortunately, the situation is worse than comparing to SNTP, as for the emails there are lots of options for implementation, but Mr. Samorukov says that only in Czech Republic there is a validator for www, and there are some rumors that similar exists for other systems, but there is a challenge there also. What are the challenges? That in order to verify the certificate, you should send another DNS request, and we well understand that our services, like there was a presentation by LinkedIn, Yandex, Google, they try to achieve to reach the situation of imminent download of the page, and in case you need to send additional one, it will bring you to a delay situation. What else? That DNSSEC has to be also deployed, implemented everywhere, and we know that it's not very popular. Only 18 domains in Ukraine supported. Moreover, DNSSEC should be also supported appropriately from the side of the customer, because many resolvers in the hotels or airports, they don't know how to work with the DNS requests, or sometimes they filter them out, and then in this case verification or validation can fail. Most probably there will be a need to enhance administrative measures. In case you are a huge corporation and you work with the keys correctly, then you will need additional people to work. And of course not all modern protocols can be supported. Maybe the situation will have to change. There are alternative options. One of the kind of main alternatives, maybe we're going to have a lightning talk dedicated to this topic, but this is, maybe there is no need to deploy DANE for www, and standard procedures will continue working. Maybe this is going to be a solution. That's it. It was a lightning speech. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I have a comment. In fact, as with the case with Ping, whom do we trust? We trust Google. Doesn't mean that Google is better than the main system. It is. And because if we look at those ITF developments, we can see that the chain is getting shorter. For example, IT registrator is already not the part of the chain at the point of signing the domain. And also, there are no any other options that would help us to find that many kind of solutions for a number of protocols. Because the DANE approach should be considered. It's not only web, it's also email, it's also Jabber, for example. It can, how to say, process IS2 connections. This is also a replacement in the part of or PGP with the use of resource signing key, and the rules are clear. These are also other certificates, customer certificates, which are being used in the emails. And pinning also doesn't help us to solve the issue, because if it's an unknown site can have untrusted certificate, for example, of untrusted certification center, which we have in this system, like for example US. And well, then this is the current situation.
Dmitry Morozovsky, Raynet, on behalf of Alex Samorukov and security-driven people, paranoid ones. The most prominent problem with X509 is because it is too deeply centralized, and if you do decide to trust, you trust everything. Okay, you have kinda some checkboxes what the CA could sign and what could not, but actually they do not work. They do not check at all. This is the main problem.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, Bakhuis, NLNet Labs again. They're actually, to connect with the previous speaker, what DANE gives you is that you can verify that the certificate is actually given, which is a big improvement on the current Trust My Blue Eyes model of trust. Another problem with browsers and DANE is that the browser vendors refuse to have in their stub resolver validate DNSSEC. They don't want to do it because it makes the browser 1 nanosecond seconds slower than the other guy. And so if you do DANE in browsers, which I actually do in my browser, but it's all done by plug-ins, and it's actually not the channel you were using for getting to the site. I really wish that Mozilla would stop refusing. They have an implementation. They don't support it. I mean, it's really silly because they think it's too slow. But what do we want? Security or not? I mean, it's very silly. But all the browser, and if just one browser does it, it will be slower than the previous version. But the browser wars are done on the most stupid arguments I can see. But that's the problem with DANE in browsers.
Okay, don't run away, because Mr. Samorukov have a question to you. Have you ever tried to use DANE on www on slow or unreliable links?
Yeah.
And were you successful?
Yes.
Okay.
And again,
don't look at me. Look at Pan Samorukov over there.
But and again, it is not the one you use in your browser. The browser is running another stub resolver than the plugin.
We have just a minute or two before we go for our coffee, so.
But I think we could wait a little.
We could certainly.
Coffee could wait us.
So I'm standing in between the room and the coffee. Okay. So yes, there are issues with implementation. We need to do more implementation, and there will be more implementation if we put more TLSA records in the DNS system. But I would say, as a response to this presentation, as would Monty Python say, DANE is not dead, it's just resting.
I never used the word dead.
Stepan Belikov, I would like to ask the question from another angle. It's nice we add another type of record for certain verification of domains. It's all great, but with the subsystem of the DNS now we've got another some kind of a DNS simplification thing. Will not this actually even be harmful, so that we resolve one problem by creating another one? Yes, such problem exists. Yes, it was attempted to be resolved, but as Alex Semeniakas said yesterday at the tutorial, if you want to send a big answer, then transfer your client to the TCP, and then this index will be kind of alleviated.
Okay. Well, and now for something completely different. You haven't mentioned, I guess it's out of this talk, I just want to kind of bring people's attention. There is a SSHFP record type 2. This is another one of these beautiful DNSSEC applications where you can scrub not just your email and your web browsing, but the management connection to your server as well. Yeah, no, it's just as IPv6. It's not for the faint of heart, but it works. And I just encourage people to try that. But again, it's not related for the talk.
Okay. Okay, if there is no questions, I want to make some conclusions on this session, at least 3 last presentations. First of all, Jaap and Jan talked about very interesting things on DNS and said that it's easy. And as far as I see no response from audience, it's maybe somehow a new topic for everyone. But you all could start experimenting because it's easy. And maybe on next ENOG, we will be able to have a panel on DNSSEC with different opinions. Because so before coffee break, think about how you will experiment with DNSSEC and DANE in your networks and home.